Hi there, welcome back to Quinta Barenta. This week's video is going to be a little bit different. We asked you over the last few weeks to ask us any questions you might have about us or our lives here in Portugal. So we'll start with a very quick summary of who we are and where we are, basically.
Yeah, so my name's Barbara, this is my husband Justin, and we moved here to central Portugal in November 2023. So we've been here just over a year now. We bought our property in February, or
Yeah,
started
but we
the
found it
process.
in February, bought it by April 2023. Yeah. So we, as Barbara says, I'm 54, Barbara is 52.
I'm not 53 now.
53 now. Yes, you are, aren't you? Yeah. And we've got 2 grown-up children each and 2 grandchildren.
And now the bells are going off.
Yeah. That's the church bells, just announcing it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, probably.
Yeah.
So we start with the first question, which is, where are we from in the UK and what careers did we have?
So for the last, 20-25 years, we've been living in Swindon, which is about an hour from London and probably about an hour from Cardiff.
Bristol.
Bristol on the M4 corridor. And as for careers, most of my working life I was in retail management. Apart from the last 4 years before we moved out here, I stepped away from management and I went to work in pharmaceuticals because we knew that we were going to be eventually coming out here, so it was kind of a bit of a step back.
Yeah. And I basically have been in various guises of the food industry for most of my life. I spent 10 years working as a contractor for the British Ministry of Defence, and then went into working with hotels and Michelin star restaurants for a long time. And then for the last 4 years, as Barbara says, when we both decided to take a step back from management or sales or whatever it may be, I retrained and became a lorry driver. So a bit of an eclectic mix of jobs there, but it all had a means to the end, didn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So, and by the way, we don't work out here. We are lucky enough to have retired a bit early, so we don't actually do any jobs here, do we?
No, well, apart from working
Well,
on the
yeah,
farm.
the farm takes up enough of that.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's answered that question. Second question. Why choose Portugal and not any other country? Do you want to start with that one?
So, Duke, one of our puppies, has decided to join us under the table. We chose Portugal. Well, we looked at many other countries around Europe, and we kind of done a bit of a pros and cons list of all the good and bad points of different countries to live in. And for us, Portugal came out on top, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
We like the fact that it has a very low crime rate here. Cost of living, some things can be quite expensive, but overall we can live here cheaper than we can back in the UK.
Yeah. And just following from what Barbara says, we did the usuals. We looked at Spain, we looked at France, we looked at Croatia because I spent some time out there. But overall, the tick in the boxes came back to Portugal, and it's actually one of the most easiest countries in Europe to get a residential visa for, because they really do want good immigration here, don't they? So.
Yeah. And also it is a 2-hour flight from where we come from, so great for us to be travelling back, and also for friends and family to be coming over. So
yeah.
And that was quite a strong one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
Near enough. So.
Yeah. And just to give you a bit of geography as to where we are, so central Portugal is also known as the empty interior. We are about 2.5 hours east of Porto, and we're about 2.5 hours northeast of Lisbon. and only about half an hour away from the Spanish border. So we're very much on the eastern side of the country, and behind us in the background is the Estrella Mountain. So that's roughly where we are in Portugal.
So we are not near the coast anywhere.
No.
However, we do have plenty of river beaches around us that we can go to when it's warm enough that we need to go and have a dip.
Yes. So, and one of the other things is why choose Portugal. I mean, today we're now 20th of February, I think it is.
And it's blue skies. There is a bit of cloud, but it is warm.
Yeah.
I know we've got a jumper on, but I could actually sit here in a t-shirt. It is warm enough to be sat here in a t-shirt.
Yeah, and where we are as well. In the winter, it does get cold here. It does get wet, but the summer's hot, very, very hot here. We had 43 degrees a couple of days last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
So it does get hot here. Now we've got a plane going over.
A helicopter.
Is it a helicopter? Did we get a D7 visa to come here? Very simply, yes. We are here on a D7. For those who don't know, that is a residential visa, and
It's a retirement visa. Is it a retirement?
Well, it's loosely a retirement. You can work on a D7 visa, but yeah, for us that was the best fit. There are other visas available, just depends on your own personal circumstances. And for us, luckily, the process was pretty straightforward. We did our application, we collated all the information together. We had our first meeting in London on the 1st of November 2023. We took a slight risk and moved down here later in November, not actually having a decision on the visa, but luckily a week after we arrived, I think about the 28th of November, we got a green light for our visa. We also were very lucky. At the same time we got our visa, they also made our stage 2 appointments, which is what you have actually in Portugal, and we had those at the end of January 2024, and we are now full-time residents. So yeah,
and then we go for our next stage in January
2026 is when we then we then apply to get a 3-year extension on that, which will take us up to 5 years in total. After the 5 years, then you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. So that is, yes, that's where we are. We are on a D7. So do we regret anything about moving to Portugal?
No.
No, definitely not.
No. The big thing for us is we can retire here. So that is the big positive. If we're careful with our money and we're not extravagant, yes, we can retire here, and we wouldn't have been able to retire for a few more years if we were back living in the UK. So that is the big plus for us, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And so we got no regrets about moving here. Things are different. You do have to adapt, but there's not been a negative experience so far here dealing with the local people here. But regarding any regrets, no, I don't think we've got any, have we?
No, obviously, that, like you said, there are differences, cultural differences and different things, but we're adapting and we're still learning, and it's just a process that we have to go through, but it's all been very positive, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very positive for us.
Next question. What things would you have done differently? This is a dead easy one.
Oh, I don't know. There is quite a few things, because the first year of being here was a real big learning curve, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For us. So what would you
regarding, I think we've maybe repeated work doing that we could have avoided. Like when we had the water put in up to the house, we should have taken that time to then have the irrigation channels dug at the same time, and then we wouldn't have had to revisit that.
Yes.
So we sort of did double the amount of work.
Yeah, we have revisited a few of our projects, because we didn't do them correct in the first place. But also with the water, in hindsight, we should have got that in earlier, because then it would have made our lives easier and we could have progressed with the house more than what we have. The other thing for me is when we actually, the day we arrived, it was quite a process getting the caravan here.
Not a lot of room
Yeah,
to get it on the land.
and down the track, and we kind of got it here and almost abandoned it.
Yeah,
And then
it hasn't moved since.
Yeah, and really we should have took a little bit of time and levelled the ground a little bit, which would have been better for the caravan and better for the awning. But hey, we've been in there now for what, 14 months, and we're just getting on with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Is there anything else we would have done differently?
Oh, started learning the language before we came here.
Yes,
which everybody says we should do, and we didn't.
Yes, we weren't very good with that. We done a few basics, but we should have done more. It would have made the transition easier and better. However, we have got by with different apps, because here in central Portugal there's not a great deal of people that speak English. There are a few scattered around, but not a lot. But we've got by and it's all been good. So, but yes, we should have learned to speak the language earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've had to move because
the sun's gone in.
Yeah,
we were just saying about that.
And the cloud is coming over, and I don't know if there might be a little bit of rain, but it's a little bit windy now. So we've took shelter down by the house.
So next question. What advice would you give anyone thinking of moving to Portugal? Well, again, pretty easy one here. Do your research and visit. We came 4 times.
Yes, and stayed
4 different locations.
4 different locations in central Portugal, because the Algarve is very different from northern Portugal.
Yeah.
So
weather-wise, terrain-wise.
Yeah.
And it's much greener up here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so do your research, and also visit. And we actually visited different times of the year, so we got a feel for spring, summer, autumn and winter, didn't we? So it was a good way of doing it.
How hot it was and how cold it got.
Yeah, so we were here in July, and we're also here in January and end of January. So we saw it from all angles. So absolutely, I mean, you know, would we recommend it? Yes, we're going to be biased because we live here. But make sure it's right for you. You know, Portugal isn't going to be right for everybody. People want different things. And Portugal is a very different country in different areas. So make sure you just check out what you want, and definitely do your research, and definitely visit.
Yeah. And also you would probably recommend that people join the Facebook page?
Yeah, we got a lot of our information initially from the British Immigrants in Portugal group on Facebook. I will put a link in the comments section below for that.
That was very useful, wasn't it?
Yeah, super useful site. Lots of files you can look at and download. Everything about how to get your visa, to living here, bureaucracy, driving here, driving licenses, taxes, all that sort of thing. So really good Facebook page. So I'll put a link in that in below.
Okay.
Yep.
Next question.
Okay. What are the benefits for us living in Portugal? Well, earlier it was sunny, now it's a bit overcast, but probably for us, the weather plays a big part. You know, the UK is not known for its greatest weather here. You know, summer seems to go in the space of 2 weeks and you're back into autumn, aren't you? But here we get a lovely hot summer, I mean super hot. In the winter you still get cold days, but it's often very blue skies. But we do get a lot of rain here.
Yeah, but also one of the benefits for us is the cost of living here.
Yeah.
As I said earlier in one of the questions, we are retired, and that's a big benefit for us, that we can be here and be retired. So if we were back in the UK,
we'd have to carry on working.
We'd have to carry on working.
Yeah.
So that's the big benefit for us.
Yeah.
And like I said, if we're careful with our money,
Yeah,
then and not extravagant, then we can afford to be here and
yeah,
live. And yeah,
yeah. And you know, also beer is very cheap, and so is wine. So that's a super bonus for me anyway.
yeah,
But yeah, so it was really a combination of things that we really like the country for. But whether the people are super friendly here, the cost of living is a bit lower. I don't think it's half the price of the UK. It isn't.
no, some food items can be quite expensive, and also some tools and
Yeah,
things can
tools.
be quite expensive. So everything isn't cheaper here,
No,
but you just have to shop around and have a look and
yeah.
yeah.
Just
So
work out what works best for you and all the rest of it. So there
next
we go.
next question.
What surprised us the most about Portugal? Um, Personally, well, for both of us, the best thing that stood out is just how friendly the local population have been in the village and surrounding areas, isn't it?
Yeah, everyone we've met has been very kind and very helpful. We haven't had no negative experiences
No.
since we've been here. Um, so yeah, that's been great, hasn't it?
Yeah, everybody is willing to help.
Yeah.
Nobody expects anything in return. Um, you know, there were people in the village that waved to us. We don't necessarily know them, but they wave at us because they know we're the English couple that live here.
Yeah.
We're the only English in the village, by the way. But yeah, everybody's been made us feel really, really welcome. And so that's probably the main surprise.
How weather can change, how you can go from a glorious
Yeah,
hot day one day to
yeah,
real downpours
yeah,
of rain. It can get very wet and
yeah. Where we
rain
are.
very heavy here. That surprised me.
Yeah, I think we knew the weather was going to be changeable. We know where we're in the. It's cold in the winter, hot in the summer, as I said here. But probably the amount of rain and the intensity catches
Yes.
us out still sometimes.
And I
Doesn't it?
think also for us this year, we felt how cold it was in the winter. Last year
Yeah.
we weren't acclimatised and we didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah,
But this
still running
year,
around in t-shirts in
yeah,
January.
this year, now we've acclimatised, it does get cold in the winter at
Yeah.
night. At night, not in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
At night. So
But yeah, so the surprises have all been positive, apart from maybe a little bit of excess rain.
yeah.
But that's just down to our rain management. I mean, earlier today it's blue skies. Tomorrow we've got a weather warning for torrential rain. So there's just no rhyme or reason to it sometimes, is there?
No.
So, but there we go. So that's the things.
Yeah, and there isn't really anything else that's
No.
surprised us, because I think where we had come over 4 times prior to buying our property, there hasn't been any real surprises, has it?
No. We did a lot of research, and again, there's nothing which has particularly stood out as being catching us out in a negative way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so every experience we've had so far has been generally positive. So yeah, green light for Portugal.
Yes.
Next, what do we miss most about leaving the UK?
Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, we know.
We know it was you. So the biggest thing is always going to be family, because we both have family back home. I have my mother and 2 sons and 2 grandchildren, and you have your.
I've got my father still and 2 children of my own, grown up obviously. But yeah, I mean family and friends. But I think as well one reason why we moved here, it was only a 2-hour flight away. You know, both our parents have been to visit. My son's been out. Barbara's eldest son is going to be coming out later in the year as well with the grandchildren. So you know, we're not a million miles away. We keep catch up regularly.
We do video calls.
Yeah.
We do lots of phone calls, lots of messaging, and we do go backwards and forwards.
Yeah, a couple of times a year we go back, don't we?
But family's always going to be the thing that you're going to miss the most. The other thing I miss is walnut whips. So if anybody comes out, please bring me some walnut whips, because I really do miss the the range and variety of chocolate we have in the UK. So,
yeah, that's one thing that Portugal does lack a little bit, is range of
what
chocolate brands.
And you want
Yorkie bars, yeah.
So yeah, if anyone comes visiting, we will be giving you a little bit of a shopping list of a few things that we miss. So but yeah, definitely walnut whips and Yorkies.
Yeah. So I don't know what the higher priority is, family or walnut whip. So.
Ooh,
that's a dig, isn't it?
That's a difficult one.
So but yeah, that's all we miss. There's nothing else. Oh, and we another thing we forgot to say, what we don't miss is the traffic in England.
Oh yes, yeah, definitely. And when we've gone back, it's always a bit of a shock to the system, because we've got used to driving here and the roads are very quiet. Obviously in Porto or Lisbon, it's very busy. But when you're in where we are, the roads are very quiet. And then we go back to the UK and we're driving and
just 2 hour drive into London. You just think, oh no.
Yeah, so we don't miss that.
No, definitely not. No. So there we go. So that's that.
What's your next question?
Next question is, do we class ourselves as expats or immigrants?
Immigrants.
Immigrants, definitely. Portugal's our host country. Therefore, we are immigrants here. So one day maybe we'll get citizenship. You never know. But we're immigrants.
Yeah, we're immigrants.
So, do you have to learn Portuguese? If this is in reference to getting a visa, then no, it's not a requirement to learn Portuguese on the visa we're on. I don't know of any others that do, but on the visa we're on, no, you don't need to learn Portuguese. However, if you want to become a citizen of Portugal, then yes, you do have to do a Portuguese test, which is set by the government. But no, as for getting a visa, no, you don't.
It would certainly help though. With,
day to day.
Yeah, if you're living especially rurally, then it will definitely help if you can speak even just the basics. It will make life a lot easier.
Yeah, obviously your please and thank yous,
hellos,
goodbyes, good nights, today, tomorrow, days of the week, times, money, and asking for things. I think they're the things which we've got the basic grips on.
Yeah. However, when we first come, we did make a few mistakes. Like you were asking half a kilo of
we want to get half a kilo of fish from the fish counter, and I asked for half a ton. So luckily the lady understood I wasn't being correct, and she spoke English, didn't she, in the supermarket? So but no, it's not a requirement for your visa. Well, seeing as we were at the house, will we furnish the house with recycled items that we find? Or you can mention it.
Yes and no. We like the eclectic mix of things. So back in the UK, we had a mixture of old, antique, and new, wasn't it? We'll probably do the same here. If we can recycle anything that we find here, yes, we will use it. However, there doesn't seem to be the second-hand market here like we had in the UK. Maybe we just haven't found those places yet. We used to like going to a lot of the vintage and antique fairs back in the UK. In the area we're in, I don't know if there is anything like that. We haven't come across anything like that at the moment. But bits and pieces that we do find, yes, we'll upcycle when we can, but our house will be furnished with new and old, really.
And we're some way off from that, so we've got plenty of time to research all of that. So next,
there was one question about costs and maintaining and renovation of a property. For us, when we have fully renovated our house, we will actually do a video about exactly how much money we've spent on the complete renovation, from everything from start to finish. But at the moment we can't really give you costings on that, because we're only just starting on the process ourselves, and we can't really give a cost on maintaining. The only thing we can say is you know,
Sand and gravel, about 30,
between 25 and 30 euros, depending,
for a
isn't it, what
cubic
grade,
metre.
yeah, what you want.
Bag of cement, 25 kilo bag of cement's about €4.20 or something.
Yeah. Utility bills are
Lower.
a bit lower here than what we were paying in the UK. But yeah, at the moment, that is not really a
Difficult.
question we can truthfully answer, because we're only just starting on the process. So we will come back to that at a later date when the property is finished.
And then another question we had is, how much did we pay? Well, we have addressed this in previous videos, but it's a very, very simple explanation. We have got a farm of 1.2 hectares, which is 3 and a bit acres in English money. Includes the house that you see behind us. This is on an urban article. And all up in April 2023, we paid €47,000 for the property as a whole. All up with taxes, solicitors' fees, etc., we were about €50,000. So yeah, that's what we paid for it.
Yes.
You know, but there we go. That gives you some idea.
The other thing I will say as well, with regard to buying a property here, the process is quite quick. It is a far quicker process.
If it's a straightforward purchase, yeah.
It can be a lot quicker than what back in the UK. I mean, it's probably...
We went from offer stage to signing on paperwork in 2 weeks. No, to signing the paperwork in 2 weeks. And then completing about
6 weeks.
Yeah, all told, yeah.
Within 6 weeks. So, yeah, if there's no issues with the property or anything, it can be a very quick process. Some people have actually done it even quicker than that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But yeah, so the only thing I would say is, if you are buying a property, is make sure you use a solicitor. We still see horror stories of people that have bought rustic land. They then think they can live on and they can't, and the GNR come along, and
also there might still be somebody who owns part of the land that they didn't
or the access road is one,
and your solicitor will check all this out for you. And solicitors here are, I mean, our solicitor was about €650 to buy the property, so it's a small price to pay to give you that security, to know that what you are buying and what you're definitely getting, and nothing's going to there's nothing going to come out at the woodwork at a later date. So that would be a bit of advice we'd give someone: get a solicitor.
Yeah, indeed. One of the questions was, do the dogs use the IBC? Yes, they do. Julio uses it the most. Zumira, who might come into shot, she's actually behind it. Come here. Come here. They also do, she does use it when it's raining, but she prefers to sort of sleep outside generally. So yeah, so they do use it. Put the blanket back in there. This is where we feed them out the way of our pups as well. And unfortunately Zumira is pregnant again. So we'll have to deal with that to see whether or not she has them on our farm or elsewhere. But yeah, they do use the IBC. Another question that we had was, are cars expensive in Portugal? Yes, they are. In the UK, we're quite lucky. We have quite a low cost for vehicles over there. What would be a second-hand car in the UK at maybe €1,000 worth, over here is very easily €3,000 or €4,000, and we'll have 245,000 kilometers on it. So yes, cars are expensive in Portugal, so do factor that into any calculations. Insuring a British car in Portugal. Yes, as you know, I took my English car back to the UK a couple of weeks ago to sell it. But while it was here, we did insure it with a company called Abbeygate, based in Lisbon. They will insure an English registered car whilst it's in Portugal. You do have to keep the car MOT'd, a UK MOT, and UK tax. It's got to be legal for the road still. But yeah, so we used a company called Abbeygate, based in Lisbon, and they did insure our car whilst in Portugal.
And last but not least,
yeah, integration. We very much wanted to integrate with the local population here, or the local Portuguese.
Hmm.
And one way of doing that, and the easiest way I can recommend, is just go to the cafe.
Go to your local cafe in your local village,
Yeah.
and because there is going to be people there that are going to be able to help you, advise you, tell you where to get things from.
They will know the people you
Yeah,
need to know.
yeah. So, yeah, get down to your local cafe and get talking.
Have a
to
coffee,
them.
have a
Yeah,
beer.
yeah.
Talk to the people from the village. You never know, if you need a Ujima flipper and a what's it, they probably know where to get it from, and also where not to buy things from.
Yes.
So certainly integrate. As I say, a few words of Portuguese goes a long way. Everybody we've met here is super friendly, always happy to talk to you. But yes, make the effort to integrate. Don't just stick with, you know, other Brits or whatever, other nationalities. I mean, we do have British friends out here, but we've got other friends of other nationalities here as well, not just Portuguese. So we've sort of really tried to mix things up a little bit.
Yeah. And the Portuguese people that we've met have been so helpful on the farm with us here.
Yeah.
We've been very fortunate.
You know, and they will tell you where to plant stuff and what not to plant where, which we did make another mistake doing, didn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah. And one other question that came up, which we didn't write down, something came in the other day, which was, do we earn any money off YouTube? Yes, and it's an amazing about €15 a month. So we don't do YouTube as a career. We just wanted to document our life here for our friends and family and anybody else that's interested. So yeah, don't think we're making bundles of money doing this. It takes a lot of time to make these videos, a lot of time to edit them, and we do it for the love of you, the viewer, and the love of our family.
Yeah, it's always been about our family and friends first, and then anybody else who really wants to come along on the journey and see our highs and lows.
Yeah. But yeah, don't think we're swimming in cash from YouTube, because we're not.
No.
But so there we go. So anyway, I hope that was informative.
And if you do have any other questions that maybe we can help you with, or
yeah, we're happy to share our knowledge. We
are happy to share our knowledge. Just let us know.
Yeah. So
thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers now.
Bye.
Bye.